Since assuming power in 2012, Xi Jinping, China's paramount leader, has significantly altered the course of the nation's political system. Under his leadership, China has seen a centralization of authority, a crackdown on dissent, and a consolidation of power that some analysts argue has transformed the country's political landscape in ways that threaten the stability of the Communist Party and its governance. A documentary on the topic would explore how Xi Jinping's rise to power reshaped Chinese politics, with a focus on key decisions and policies that have had long-lasting consequences for China and its people. The consolidation of power. Upon becoming General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, in 2012, Xi Jinping began centralizing power in a way that few of his predecessors had dared. One of the first signs of this was his consolidation of control over the military, appointing loyalists to key positions within the People's Liberation Army, PLA. This move was critical in ensuring his ability to execute reforms and retain authority within the CCP, as the military has long been an important pillar of Chinese politics. Xi also pursued a systematic purge of his political rivals through his infamous anti-corruption campaign, which, while genuinely targeting corruption, was widely seen as a tool for eliminating potential threats to his leadership. Thousands of high-ranking officials were removed, leaving Xi with a more loyal and centralized political base. The end of term limits and the cult of personality. In 2018, Xi's most significant political maneuver came when the National People's Congress removed presidential term limits from the Chinese constitution, effectively allowing him to remain in power indefinitely. This move was seen as a symbolic and real shift towards authoritarianism, as it signaled the end of the collective leadership model that had been in place since Deng Xiaoping, and the beginning of an era of personalist rule. Xi's push to create a cult of personality around himself further entrenches power. His image, ideas, and speeches are promoted as central to China's future. His Chinese dream of national rejuvenation and vision for China's role in the world have become the guiding principles of the state, similar to the Maoist era but with modern interpretations. Xi's leadership style emphasizes ideological conformity, suppressing dissent and pushing forward a vision of a strong, centralized China under his direct control. Crackdown on dissent and civil liberties. Under Xi, China has seen an increasingly harsh crackdown on dissent, both within the political elite and the general population. His administration has targeted civil society groups, human rights activists, and journalists who criticize the government, while also enforcing strict censorship and surveillance measures. The rise of the Great Firewall and the social credit system has further allowed the government to monitor and control the behavior of its citizens, eroding privacy and individual freedoms. One of the most notable actions taken by Xi was the complete erosion of the one country, two systems policy in Hong Kong. Protests in 2019, which were sparked by a proposed extradition law, led to a heavy-handed response from Beijing. In 2020, Xi's government imposed a controversial national security law on Hong Kong, effectively ending the city's autonomy and silencing opposition. This action drew widespread international condemnation, but also sent a clear message that under Xi, dissent would not be tolerated. The reassertion of China's global influence. Xi Jinping's rule has also marked a shift in China's foreign policy, as the country has become more assertive on the global stage. Through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI), Xi has sought to expand China's economic influence across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Simultaneously, China has adopted a more confrontational stance towards Western powers, particularly the United States, engaging in trade wars and asserting its claims in the South China Sea. She has also prioritized military modernization and the expansion of China's technological capabilities, including artificial intelligence and 5G, positioning China as a rising global power. This ambitious strategy is part of Xi's broader vision of transforming China into a dominant force that challenges the global order led by Western powers. The legacy of Xi Jinping's rule. The transformation of China under Xi Jinping has left many questioning the future of Chinese politics. On the one hand, Xi's leadership has brought stability to the CCP and consolidated China's economic and geopolitical power. On the other hand, his centralization of power, suppression of dissent, and dismantling of political reforms raise concerns about the long-term health of the Chinese political system. A documentary exploring this subject would examine the long-term effects of Xi's rule, from the suppression of political freedoms to the challenges posed by the growing wealth inequality and economic slowdown in China. The documentary would also highlight the implications of his policies for global politics, especially in relation to China's rising influence and its confrontations with other world powers. Conclusion: Xi Jinping's tenure has been marked by a dramatic shift in China's political dynamics. His centralization of power, crackdown on dissent, and authoritarian rule have reshaped the country's governance structure. While some argue that Xi's policies have restored stability and international prominence to China, others believe that his authoritarian approach could have profound consequences for the future of Chinese politics. The documentary would provide an in-depth look at how Xi Jinping has altered the course of China's political landscape, shaping both the nation's future and its role in the world.